Hi guys, welcome back to another Prepar3d version 5 video. Today we'll be flying the Hawker Siddeley 748. And let me actually manage to close my SimBrief profile, but yeah, let me just change as you can see, I put us in a pretty nice viewpoint. We can see the birds flying up here. We have the aircraft and then the Lean airport here in northern Canada, in the Northwestern Territories. And we're going to be flying the Air North, or donning the Air North livery today, flying from the Lean to our destination of Norman Wells. I almost blanked there, but yeah, Norman Wells. So quite a short flight, 150 kilometers. And Air North is quite a popular airline up here, flying a lot of routes. I think the Hawker Siddeley 748 is able to fly on gravel runways, so I thought it would be a appropriate plane to fly up here. In terms of the aircraft itself, this is the Just Flight version of the Hawker Siddeley 748, and it's an okay add-on made by Just Flight. I think it came out in 2016 or something. Got a bit panned in the beginning, pretty bad, low textures, and I can agree with some of them, at least in the cockpit. This could have been a better aircraft, but it's in the hall of good, with some minor bugs that I've noticed, but hopefully the major one I noticed won't happen, knock on wood. And but it won't break anything, it's just going to be annoying. It's basically tied to the engines, so once you spool them up, sometimes it doesn't come down, so you basically have really high idling running engines that will, even with parking brake, they will just keep on spinning. Hopefully that won't happen, but let's see. They will spool down eventually. It's just that I don't want to wait 20 minutes for that. So let's see. But yeah, it's an okay aircraft. From the outside you can see it's, you know, okay, not PBR in that sense, but not bad looking either. I mean, it's a Prepar3d version 5 native aircraft as well. Not the best angles though, let me see. You do have the pilots in here, some okay textures, and then nothing in here. I'm assuming this is a passenger version of the aircraft. There's also freighters, of course. It is a turboprop, as you can see on the engines, another piston pounder, one of the early turboprops. But yeah, let me change viewpoint here. I don't think there's a SimBrief profile for this aircraft, so we'll just use something else to kind of make up for that. And let me just write in the flight plan, so we have that. So it's CYWJ to CYVQ. So I'm just writing that into our SimBrief, and then in terms of airplane type, we will just we have Hawker, but it doesn't seem to be the Siddeley. Maybe we can use something like the Yak-40. Maybe that could be a good substitute. The engines, since it's a Russian plane, then it will probably be consuming more fuel anyway. And the turboprop are quite efficient, right? So we can just use that as our benchmark, and we'll quickly just put in our data. No fuel planner and such. The only thing we have is GPS, which I replaced with the RXP GTN. Works okay, but not the best. We have quite a bit of fuel. Let's go down to, I think SimBrief says 6,000. So let's go down to around that. Gross weight, I think it's fine, the gross weight actually, we're below, so let's just use that. Yeah, apart from this aircraft add-on, we basically have Orbx North America, no photo reel up here. don't think I'm gonna get it just because I do want to keep seeing forests. Well, let's see, maybe I'll change my mind at some point. We do have a freeware Deline airport, so that's why we have this nice cabin. Took me a while to get it sorted, but it's working nicely here in P3D version 5. And then we have Norman Wells as well as a freeware. I don't think it's as nice as this airport, but it's definitely not a bad airport. In terms of our flight, I don't think there's any radio up here. At least not to my, so I'm just gonna fly it without Prepar3d. But we'll try to follow the Simbrief flight plan, which you can see here. So we'll just try to follow that and then land at our destination, Norman Wells. This does have a let me see. So I guess I'm not at the parking facility. Well, that's a bit of a bummer. Well, let's start the batteries and we can do the ground supply. You can see we get the ground air. And then we can do here, I think we have a ground service button. So we get some things around us. We can open Shift E, we open the main door, Shift E2, we open the cargo door. So I think this should be good enough. So no GSX integration. I moved the aircraft actually. The parking is a bit weird on this one. I need to tweak that a bit. But yeah, so we're just gonna do this quick hop. I'm just gonna do the pack X quickly. So our departure and our arrival airport, our flight number, our cruising altitude saying 16,000. I'm gonna do 10. I doubt we'll be going, or 12 maybe. I doubt we'll be going that much higher. The aircraft is pressurized. I think only the cargo versions were unpressurized, like the true cargo versions. We'll do the Saab, 33 passengers, that should be enough. Boarding music, I don't have anything with Air North, so let's use something completely different. We can just use, well, I don't know what the Japanese ANA boarding music is, so let's try that for fun. Probably gonna be quite extremely different, guessing Japanese music. But yeah, might be good. Even though we're up here in the wilderness of Canada, in northern Canada. I mean, we're even above Yellowknife quite far as well. If you look here at the Yellowknife, we have that, and here we're flying, right? Quite a long alternate, or quite far away alternate, so that's interesting. But yeah, in terms of the inside, I didn't really go through that. I'm now hearing it's a bit of a loud boarding music, but hopefully that's okay. The inside is, you know, okay. The critic was that it was a bit cartoonish, and I agree with them. I think they made some updates, but I mean, some things looks good, like these sidebars, but then yeah, this just looks yeah, it's not the best looking cockpit, but it's sufficient. And I guess this is the best prop HS or Hawker Siddeley 748 that's out there. There's a freeware as well that I haven't tried, but I've heard good things about for P3D. But yeah, if you want to do the payware route, this is what you have in all sims that's out there. So unfortunately, and that's it. But there'll probably be a new version for Microsoft Flight Sim at some point. I can't. I mean, it would be hard to bet against it. Let's put it that way. Okay, let's do nav and beacon light. You can see the nav lights are also too strong a bit, so not sure how native to P3D version 5 it is. Feels like some developers just took a shortcut, but oh well. The buses, guess we can put those on. In terms of the APU, which would be the next step, but before we go into those, let's just start here, and you'll notice that I haven't really properly set this up. So let me see once we get this up. Slowly and steadily. Here we go. So we'll continue. So you can see I don't really have it. I'll only be able to use it as a reference. I won't be able to use it in any better capacity, unfortunately. So we'll keep it there. I'll have to tweak it. I'm pretty sure I can get it to kind of align nicely with no bezel, like into this area, but I just haven't been able to figure it out just yet. So we'll do our flight plan. We're departing from 26. Well, we can't put that in. And you'll see it here. I'm using the 2D panel on my left. We'll do a direct to Ukpel. And another waypoint to Ovilu. And then we'll do a direct to the airport itself, runway 28. So that's CYVQ. Let's see if we have a procedure for that for the arrival. No, but we probably have an approach procedure. So for runway 28 we have a VOR and a visual. We can do the VOR. There is some options for a transition. We have Mibnu and ZKX. I'm not sure I can find either one of them in the actuals. I'm just gonna use vectors and load approach. And then have a look if it looks somewhat reasonable. And it does look fine. I think we'll be able to fly this based on that. So that's good. Very interesting music, this ANA. But it'll do. And let's get that aligned with the gyro. You can hide the yoke, so that's pretty good. So those are usually in the way. One way to fly would of course be to do the VORs. The only VR we'll be flying now, I guess, is the one for the airport itself. So we can actually put that in by going to map. The VR for Norman Wells. It's 112.7. So let me try to put that in. 112.7. And the radios we do have here, let me see. They're supposed to be here somewhere. Somewhere they're hiding. I know we have them at least from Pilot 280, or not Pilot 280, but from the RXP GTN. But I'm not sure if we have them. Because here we have the, oh, here's the nav, sorry. Nav 1 and Nav 2. There we have the VR. I'm trying to think though, what's the final approach? Let's see if I can find. Well, look at that, I could find actually the airport charts. So it's 29, 112%, sorry, 29, 279. That's the course. Now we can put the course here so we don't have to 279. Good. Happy days. And I'm gonna move this so we don't have to think about it just yet. But we can actually do some of the approaches. We have it done. 740 is the minimums. So what's that? That's 500, 6, 740 I think, something like that. Or I guess, yeah, 740, that should be a bit below the midpoint here, which should be 750 feet. Anything else that we need to be careful, or a bit of a higher glide slope than 3? No, nothing else. I think it's looking pretty good. We can close the main doors and the cargo doors. We can start the APU, and the way you start the APU is, well, you can see that's on fail. It's basically you go with this on, then start. You see the DC volts increasing.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and
Once
welcome
those
aboard.
have increased
Our flight
enough,
time will be roughly 2 hours. Now that the cabin
I
doors
think you
closed,
wanna
please make sure that all devices
put
are in
the
airplane mode
generator
and your
control
large
normal,
devices are now
and you
shut
wanna
down
open
and
the air
stable.
delivery valve.
Please fasten your seatbelt and make sure that all tray tables and seat backs are in a full upright and locked position for departure. Cabin for
We
departure.
can also remove all these ground services. We do not need the ground supply. So that's removed. We don't need to ask for any clearances since we don't have pilot ADC, so we're not using that. The only thing we need to know is that we are departing from runway 26, which is the runway 25 here, so this is a bit of an older information, so from there we'll be departing. And now we're basically ready to start our engines. So as you can see, a pretty good system fidelity, but not of course the highest, but you know, okay-ish. You don't have anything of the external model here. You do have the wing though, so that's okay. So at least some of it is modeled in the interior. I think you can open the window, so that's pretty nice. But other than that, that's about it. But I must say, like the cockpit, I agree. I mean, it's a okay cockpit. It's not a bad cockpit. There's much worse cockpits, but I agree. It's one of those a few just flight planes, and they didn't hold the same standard back then. But like this was one of those that I was also a bit disappointed in a bit. This is an interesting plane, right? I mean, the turboprop, old school turboprops. There aren't that many, or there are almost none old school turboprops that are like at a high level. You know, we don't have the Electra, the L188, and we don't have this one. So yeah, that's a bit unfortunate in the flight sim community. But yeah, next steps, we need to have the auxiliary pumps. Unfortunately, these do use the annoying sound. So you see, once we remove them, that sound is off. There is a fix for that. I'm just gonna show it to you because I forgot to put it in. I should have done that before the video. But basically you wanna go, I'm just gonna find the fix so I'm actually using it right. I think it's sound, and then the sound config. So in the sound config you wanna put in like a fuel pump sound maximum. I'll show you how that one works as soon as I find the plane, the sound. So you go here to the plane, to the sound config, and then here in the sound config you scroll down to the bottom, and then you add, you can of course tweak the values, but you add this fuel pump maximum volume. It's probably not going to have an effect now, as you can hear. But if we actually, let me see, I do wonder if we actually reload the aircraft, it might have an effect. So I'm just going to quickly reload because it takes so fast to set this up anyway. So just switch back to north. To north air. Okay, let's see. So if we now, and maybe now it will work. So if we switch back to north, let's see. We will need to do the RxPGTN though, so that's I guess a bit unfortunate. But if we're now back on the north, we don't have the APUs. Now I don't think we have the sound anymore with that, so that's pretty good. We have still the same nav, and we do still, I think, have the same course in. So the course already set. Let me just put on the ground, put these on as they were. Nav and beacon. We can also do fasten seatbelt and no smoking. Secure aircraft, that's the chocks. So once you remove those, you don't have them. And we can start the APU again. Whilst we do that, I'll just quickly fix the flight plan. Luckily it's only directs almost. Let me start it here as well. So insert after. And then for the airport itself, we'll do the specific approach, the VR28 with the vectors, and okay. So now we have it set up. I'm gonna decrease the size of this thing. It's ridiculous. But basically here you'll see it. So that was kind of how fast it is to set it up. And we'll just be flying directly here and then in to land. So yeah, short flight. Okay, now in terms of getting this bird started, we do not, I think, need to do anything further with these. No, with these, I think we can start all of these afterwards. That was a while though, so don't quote me on that. But the pumps needs to be on, that's for sure. We can also check our altimeter through Active Sky. 2977. So a bit lower, 2977. Yeah, and hide the yoke. Let me see if the altimeter is, or there we go, the decision height. Then when you start the engines, I think the key is to start the right one first. So you want to change that to starboard. You want to change that to start, and then you just want to press start. You can see the RPM gauge going up. Now it's starting. You can see it here. We don't need the ground supply, since we do have the... And now you can see the RPM is going down. So it seemed to have worked nicely this time. That's good to see. Now, since that one is stable, we can start the left one. We just change the port, and then we start the left one.
Safety starts with your seatbelt. Whenever the seatbelt light is turned on, your seatbelt must be fastened low and tight across your lap. Simply slide the middle end into the buckle and adjust by pulling on the loose end of the strap. Lift the buckle to release.
So let's see now, RPM is
the captain may turn off the fasten
coming up.
seatbelt sign.
Both our engines are started.
Fastened whenever seated and while sleeping.
And now the RPM is going down. So good, we didn't have that bug. Maybe I've been able to figure out the starting sequence in a good way.
This aircraft has emergency exits, each marked with the red and white
So yeah, let's see. That one is stabilized, this one also seems to be. In terms of our trim, we have the trim here. I'm not sure if you can see though your setting anywhere, if you just have to go by feeling. Could be that you have to go by feeling. That's the wipers. You have working wipers, but no rain effects on the windows. Just Flight don't seem to have implemented that for any of their products for Prepar3d, which is shame, but I can understand why. You do have an old school autopilot here as well. That's good to mention. And what else?
Remember to
not
put
much
your mask
else
on
actually.
before helping other
I guess the fuel
passengers.
heaters
Life vests are
can be
located
put
in
on.
plastic bags beneath or in some cases between each seat.
We
Pull
can put
the
on the
fabric
engine
strap
de-ice
to
as we're up
release
here
the
in the
vest.
north.
Pull it over your head while placing your arms through the side
Let's
strap.
have a look, those do
Pull
look
the strap
good.
firmly to expose the back
You
panel
can
and
run
tighten
these
by
bolts.
pulling out on the yellow tabs. Inflate just prior to
These
exiting
we
the
can put
aircraft
on.
by pulling the
Screw
red tabs or
supplies.
by manually blowing through the tubes and shoulders.
Flight inspector
Locator can be
master.
pulling on the marked tab.
We don't need the APU anymore,
Every member
so
of
we
our
close
crew
the air
is highly
delivery
trained in
valve,
emergency
go
procedures.
off, and
For
then trip
everyone's safety,
the
please
generator.
follow all crew member instructions and observe posted and lighted information
Apart
signs.
from that, I think we have
Please
everything
remember,
set up.
smoking is not permitted on this aircraft. All of our lavatories are equipped with smoke detection systems, and federal law prohibits tampering
keep
with,
that on,
disabling or destroying these
off.
systems.
So that
The
means
use
we have
of
it
personal
on.
cellular telephones is permitted on board while the aircraft door is open.
That's
When the
cockpit
aircraft door
light.
is closed, your phone must be turned off for the
Taxi lights,
duration
we
of
can
the flight.
extend.
Some
Taxi lights, don't really see a difference.
while on board the aircraft. Once airborne, you will be advised when the use of
So
a
we're supposed to have taxi lights on.
computers and compact displayers is
We have
permitted.
airframe
A complete
de-ice.
list of approved devices may be
Let's
found
just
in
put
the
that on for
magazine
now.
located in the seat back pocket in front of
As
you.
we're up here, I think the weather is
We'll be
quite
taking
cold
off
already.
momentarily, so please
Yeah, it's
make
already
sure that your tray tables,
minus
seat backs
degrees.
and footrests are in their upright and stowed position,
We can go
and that all carry-on baggage is properly
flaps
stowed,
for takeoff.
either in the overhead bins
Luckily these
or under
are
the seat in
branded.
front of you.
So takeoff
Remember
1,
that
2,
the
and
overhead
approach
bins
and
should be
land.
opened slowly and carefully,
The only thing we want
as
to
the
check
contents may
is
shift
that the
around
fuel and
during the
payload
flight.
is set
We also
correctly,
recommend
and it
that all
is,
passengers take a
or
moment to
correct
review
in the
the
sense that it's
illustrations
taken into
provided
account
in the
our
safety
changes.
information card.
We can release the parking brakes. It looks
If
good,
you have any
and we can
questions
start
about these
taxiing.
important safety and evacuation procedures, please ask a crew member. Thank you for your attention and cooperation. All of us at this airline appreciate the opportunity of showing you how committed we are to
Taxiing with
making
this aircraft is pretty nice. Nothing spectacular, but you know, works. You have a tiller. Not sure it... it seems to move in the cockpit as well, so that's pretty nice. But I do wonder about seeing the elevator trim. Would be interesting to know how you trimmed the aircraft. You can see the flaps there, right? So we're at 8 degrees. Potentially down there we can see the rest. But let's see. And wait, just before we get started here, I'm just gonna check a thing. I'm just gonna pause quickly to just start it again. There we go. You wouldn't notice that pause, but I most definitely will. I just had to go and take care of some real life stuff. Let's think this through though. New aircraft. I haven't not flown this one a lot because of that bug that now seems to have been, well, maybe not fixed, but I don't seem to get that RPM bug, or haven't, at least the last few couple of times. I did flew this a bit in order to prepare for this video. We can put on the landing lights also. Let me just check. I don't see any lights, but maybe it's just because, oh, there they are. They're on the outside there. That's my mistake actually. Let's see if we do go darker. Like, what's the effect of those? Okay, pretty good. Pretty good night lighting. That's nice. Let's cancel that. Let's check if we have any strobe or similar leading edge lights. And if there's anything else. No, I think these are all good. Yeah, not seeing any warning signs. The only thing I've been wondering is but here you can see the elevator, right? We don't need to go that extreme on the nose up, I think. I think it should be a bit easier than we think. And I do want to see actually if this one works with the GPS. I'm a bit interested in seeing that. Doesn't seem to wanna switch though. So I guess there's a risk that it won't work with RxPN. Well, let's see if we try that. Otherwise I'll just fly with heading. Okay, now we need to turn around and then get flying. Hopefully the weather will allow us. I think it was looking rather okay. Not that much wind, clouds at 1,000 feet. This one has a bit worse, but we should be able to just get below the clouds. So we should be fine. So let me turn here now with this little turboprop. So we can get going on our little journey. And I'm actually just gonna check pack X quickly, because I totally forgot to ask. The seatbelt signs on seems to have been automatically selected. I think we are now looking pretty good. Almost on the center line of the runway. Let's start to add some RPM a bit. It's pulling up nicely on both engines. Brakes released. Airspeed alive. Let's see, 100 knots. Do we have enough runway for this? Or maybe we're a bit too heavy. Nah, we just made it. Jesus Christ, that was too tight. That was almost air super level of stupidity. Okay, landing gear coming up. I can do the flaps. I'll pull back a bit on speed. Yeah, we should definitely not have, we're a bit too heavy, I feel. Now I got the joke back there. Let me just see if I can have the GPS on my other screen. I'm gonna make it quite a bit smaller. Then I'm gonna lock it so I have it on my right. We're almost flying the right direction. We're pitching up maybe a bit too much. We wanna go a bit to the left. In terms of let's see. Oh, I think we have the VR already. That's interesting. What's this one? It's on manual. We can do heading mode. In terms of heading, we do want to fly 1260. So not the easiest one to see actually here. Let's try that. So heading mode. We could have put on the yaw dampener. That was a bit of a mistake. If we do altitude on, can we add a bit of vertical speed? We can. And then you push forward 1000. So that's good to remember. We can turn a bit more to the left. Are we missing anything? I do think we are on heading mode, autopilot, but for some reason maybe it was just the wind. But now we're turning nicely. We can go off with the lights, we can retract them. As you can see, they're retracted now, so we don't have any lights. I guess we can do the fast and seatbelt signs as well. Doesn't look like we're in any cumulus. Seems like those are off. Here we can also see a bit of our how our flight plan is going. We can zoom out a tiny bit. Still climbing 5,000 feet. It's a pretty nice livery there, North One. I do wonder if they still fly this aircraft. Air North, Wikipedia, Anglais. They do not fly it anymore. It's a previously operated aircraft. Now they fly the 737 Classic and the NG actually. Damn, they have really upgraded. And a lot of ATR 42s. Well, 8 of, no. How many? TC list? Ant list. So 11, okay, 11, yeah, total. So not that many actually. And that's yeah, that's a bit sad, I guess, you know, with everything becoming so modern. And of course the older airplanes becoming less and less efficient. Trying to see if we have any other airlines that are could be flying some interesting up here in the north, but not really finding any interesting ones. Central Mountain Air, what do they fly? Dash 8s, Dornier 328s. Yeah, it's not that many. Buffalo is the main one, right? Buffalo Airways, but that's about it. You can turn a bit further to the left. So we have only about 70 nautical miles. So we can actually stop climbing. Like there is zero reason for us to climb too much higher than what we are at. So we'll just stop climbing. We'll cruise just above the clouds here. I mean, we'll be at our destination in approximately, well, no time at all actually. So let me just put that so we can see it nicely. I'm actually gonna zoom in. Our distance 53 nautical miles, we can't see it here, but you can see it on the 2D. Now I've locked it though, so I need to unlock it here. So yeah, we don't have a lot left. It does have a weather radar, but it's inoperative, but I think you can just switch that out. Maybe I'll do that with the Roland VX gauge. But yeah, it looks pretty good on the outside. The exterior is not bad. And look at these lovely clouds. It's amazing. I used to hate overcast, but I really like it with Rex and the 2D clouds. They really do the 3D and 2D. In terms of descending though, what do we want to be? We don't want to go too low. There's some mountains to the right. Let me show you. Here, around 3,500. We're gonna be coming in here. So we wanna have some a bit of a gap here. We're supposed to be at 3,600, right? So that's enough, but we're gonna keep 4,000, I think. And we don't have anywhere where we can also see the miles here, right, to DME. So I would just, because we are on altitude mode, so I would just start descending with about 1,000 feet per per minute. That should be sufficient. Anything else actually? We have the prop brake. And the gust lock. Don't seem to... I mean, these should be lock out, right? Let me see, gust lock, port and starboard. Because this one actually had a lot of incidents with that gust lock being forgotten. Kind of like I did, but it apparently doesn't do anything in this case. So maybe it's not like implemented as an actual system, it's just a lever, right? Working, but not really working. We're supposed to be descending with 1000 feet, but we're only descending a bit above 500, no, a bit below. Not sure if it's playing ball with us or not. What do we have here? Foot heaters. Not sure we... Cabin heat, that makes sense to have on. Cabin pressurization. Okay, so those... I mean, we don't need to be pressurized because we're flying so low, but I guess you would want to have that. So it does seem pitot heater should also be on. So I did forget quite a bit of things, sorry about that. I have really not flown this one a lot, but I thought I would, for you guys, just kind of show it quickly with this short flight. Just because I know a lot of people have their kind of preferences towards aircraft, and maybe someone really digs this one. I was actually a bit hopeful with this one because I wanted like an old school prop from like around the 60s, since the Electra didn't, the one that I flew a bit earlier wasn't really up to par with the virtual cockpit and the system implementation, but unfortunately this one has not been that much better. Let me see if I can decrease or increase our vertical speed. It doesn't look like it. Okay, let's see, we need to also be preparing for the right altimeter settings if we won't be getting that from Prepar3d 2984. We can also put on the lights again, just so we don't forget that. That should be on safe. Also something I forgot. See, a lot of things I've forgotten this time around. We can extend the landing lights. You see we have them out there. Pretty sure this adds a bit of drag. With its benefit, we can actually aim to descend to 3600. Let's see if we can descend a bit quicker. I removed the altitude hold and now I'm just using the pitch of the plane. You can see I'm pitching down a bit to add to the vertical speed. It does seem to work, but then it seems to wanna pitch up and back again. So a bit worrisome, but let's see. can also a bit change the heading, because we want to get on this localizer, and now we are in the clouds. So we are fully flying IFR. We have 20 nautical miles to drop down to 3,600. If we would be flying from, well, we're flying a bit closer by, so let's actually have a look what altitude we should be at Irkav. 3,400, 4,000, 3,600. So Ovilu should be 4,300. So we actually don't need to descend that much more, but we need to then be able to descend quite steeply. Let's do 4,000. That would leave us still a 1,000 clearance down to the ground. Of course, to actually properly follow, we should maybe do just 4,300. But let me just have a quick look at the GPS and see where we're actually gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna be Ovilu, so 4,300. Then we'll need to descend quickly. Okay. Let's do 8 nautical miles visibility, so I can have a look at it from here. I'm gonna pull back a bit on the throttles. We have enough fuel. We're a bit heavy actually on fuel. The runway length is, the elevation is 237, so it's not that high. But what's the runway length? Aerodrome chart will give us the info. 6,000 feet. So it's not, this is definitely not a long runway. Let's keep that in mind. About 24 nautical miles left. Let's see if there's anything else we have forgotten to. Nice setup. Okay, you do have nose wheel steering as a specific on and off. We can try that once we land. Quite a detailed oxygen mask, even though it doesn't function. So yeah, the system depth isn't that bad. You do have quite a bit of things. Just I'm not sure what exactly all of them do. Or not in terms of what they actually do in real life, but what they do in the sim, like which ones are actually working. And this, I guess, is the right wind. Oh, and look at that, we descended too much, so that's actually on me. We can do altitude hold. No, sorry, autopilot and altitude hold. There we go. Ah, but now we got into the clouds again. Yeah, that was it's actually quite pretty. I was hoping for you to see kind of the winter around here. You know, the fun part is that if we have continued to descend, we would have hit the ground here straight. So that's actually, yeah, that's not good. It's around 3,000 feet, 3,400 at the highest part. So we want to be hitting the ground, but yeah, I do not suggest you look away if you're not fully comfortable with the autopilot. You can close this, the wiper. And let's just check if we have any other lights that we need to put on, but I don't think so. This one you can't move. So yeah, but quite a bit of these you can actually move. Is that the instrument panel? No, that's just that you can see kind of how close we are to the ground here. And I'm actually really gonna pull back on the because we wanna lose that speed. But look at how much we're draining that speed. That does not feel realistic at all. So there's a bit of things here that I'm, how should we put it, not that convinced about. You can see that the VR is getting closer, so we can put that on. It does do it a bit extreme, I think. Let's turn a bit to the right. We can actually stop keeping the altitude. So I wanna get nicely on this this VR. Okay, now we're descending again. Nothing too crazy. We can go flaps 1. We can drop the landing gear. And we should be really soon be getting on that VR. We need to descend quite fast. We should be around 2300 soon. So let's just continue descending. Now we're a bit extreme on the vertical speed, so let me pull up a bit. And now we can probably go to localizer. I'm gonna keep the altitude now, because I really don't get why it wants to descend like crazy. That's maybe a bit of a bug. We're gonna be too low actually, unless we get this descent stopped. Like way too low, we should be at 2000. But we're not supposed to have any vertical speed, so I don't... And we have a crazy... The nose up trim is like crazy on this one. I'm gonna do manual flight by now, just to make sure we don't get ourselves killed. But as you can see, we have a pretty beautiful area around us. Just gonna make sure that we do climb a bit. So we do also want to be able to see the runway in order to do the glide. And I'm gonna zoom in here. So that's where we should be at 2200, right? So we're at 1000. There we can see the runway. As you can see, we are quite a bit. It's potentially that this has an offset. Let me have a look. So a small offset maybe, unless the airport is a bit wrongly placed in the sim, which is also possible. Okay, let me get that trim organized. That was the autopilot had some crazy setting. We do want to climb a bit, nothing crazy, but just enough to get back on the poppies. I like the approach to Norman Wells, just because of the nice, you have the hills here on the right, and they look really good during the winter. Like this is when the Orbix land class shines very nice. Oh, look at that, we actually were on the right. So maybe it just was like the angle we were coming from made it look like it was a bit off, or there was an offset. Yeah, you have the mountains to the right and then the river to the left, so that's pretty cool, I would say. So we have the let me see. We have the lights on. We're kind of on a final with, we are lining up. We can go to flaps full. Now I didn't check any limitations and such for the landing or speeds or similar, but I'm gonna guess it's around 100 to 120 with flaps full. Maybe even a bit lower than that. It's a small aircraft, right? We're a bit heavy, but apart from that. Okay, let's see, we're a bit high now, so we do want to get on that glide slope, and it was a bit more than 700 feet, so around 800. I think the glide slope was like 3.28 or something degrees. Okay, let's see, 500. We've already passed our minimums, no call out, so I'll just call out continue. Still looking okay. Speed still looking okay. We're a bit below now, so that was quick. The puppies aren't always the most sensible, but I do think we might be a bit low here. Let's see. This seems to be a real runway. So let's try to get us down here. There we go. I'll brake. We'll have to turn around. Go the long way, unfortunately. But we managed to land. That's the important part. And actually this freeway isn't that bad for Norman Wells, so that's nice to see. Let me put on this nose wheel steering. Not sure that does make a big of difference, but okay, let's see. We'll remove the flaps. Doesn't seem to be any speed brakes, so that's good to be aware of. So basically you have braking and flaps for drag, and of course the wheels themselves once you're still in the air, right? The wheels or the gear will create drag. Well, yeah, pretty nice flight. I mean, it's a nice plane to to fly. I don't think there's any major issues. The only thing is the autopilot with the vertical speed. So you do have the vertical. You can't really see it, but there is a wheel here. And if you're on alt, it seems to climb quite well. But descent-wise, it's not that good. You have the dampener as well, which I should have used. The yaw dampener, I think it is. But I, yeah, didn't think of that. I hate when it's like this set up, right? It's easy to forget. I guess the yaw dampener is to prevent the Dutch roll, but yeah. Interesting tidbit. So yeah, pretty nice looking area. I mean, this is kind of why, I mean, because if you look to the left, this is, I'm not saying this is how it looks at Norman Wells, but if you were looking in Finland, for example, northern Finland, like Lapland, this is how it looks. So I'm actually very happy about the look of this in northern Canada. And it's the only reason why I'm considering for like northern Finland and Sweden to remove photo reel when I fly during the winter, just to get this sort of effect, because it's yeah, it actually works when it's snowy, right? Because everything is just white. But then land class is actually not that bad. And you get like all these trees, and it's a pretty good look. So yeah, land class isn't too bad. But it doesn't work with cities. It just looks awful, unfortunately. And let's see now, we can start the APU, since we are coming in. I don't need to trip it. So pretty good freeware airport, this one. You can put on the valve. I'm actually trying to think now, where's the bleeds on this one? Because you have the air delivery valve for the auxiliary power unit, right? But you need to somewhere get the for air condition as such, but maybe it's here with the temporary control valve. Oh well. Oh, look at that. We do have the fire tests on this one. Only on the left one though. But nevertheless, that's cool. That's actually a nice implementation. So yeah, now we're here, Norman Wells. Short flight, short and sweet. But those flights can be quite nice. And now we can kind of park and just have a look at our landing. You can see the gears are, I guess, supposed to be kicking up snow. Not that we have any on the runway or the taxiway itself or at the gate. Let's see, I did put in the parking brake, but interesting, the parking brake does seem to somehow get unstuck. We'll cheat. That will do it. To shut the engine off, I guess we can do the gust controls, and then we'll just shut the HP levers. And there you go. Air North has arrived. We're alive. Barely, but alive. So let's have a look at the replay. 280 maybe? Nah, we should do 340. So yeah. Beautiful approach. Really nice actually. Prepar3d land class at its best. Okay, a bit low. You can kind of see it here, but not like crazy. We're back on the poppies. Maybe coming in a bit hot. We do flare, but then we start to drift. Then we get down. First the right one, then the left one. It's kind of firm though, so I think it's fine. A bit off the center line. But yeah, overall a pretty good landing. The approach was atrocious, with us falling way below the altitude constraints, but it could be worse, I guess. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. This was actually really short. I'm looking only 1 hour. Only, but still. Hopefully you got a bit of an insight into the airplane, a bit of, you know, the bugs and stuff. But it is a Prepar3d version 580 aircraft, so it should work quite well. But of course, if you have any comments, inputs, if you have any questions, you know, maybe you have some specific bugs, just, you know, feel free to leave them in the comments. And I'll see if I have any solutions to that. But I do suggest to implement that fuel pump thing, because that sound is annoying. And to do that with every aircraft you have, where you have that annoying fuel pump sound. Just my recommendation, but I think it's a valid recommendation. But yeah, thank you for watching. I wish you all a good rest of the day, and yeah, see you until next time. Bye bye.